WREG in Memphis. This is News Channel 3 at 6.
A huge break in a story News Channel 3 has been following closely as the FBI investigates State Senator Katrina Robinson. Tonight, we now know why. The lawmaker from Memphis is accused of using hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants on herself instead of using them for the vocational nursing school she founded. Robinson is charged with theft, embezzlement, and wire fraud. She could face up to 20 years in prison if she's convicted. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Stephanie Skurlock. Greg will be along for the news at 10. We're bringing you Team 3 coverage as new details on this case emerge. The senator just wrapped up a news conference responding to these charges, and WREG's Shay Arthur is live at the courthouse in downtown Memphis. Shay, you were there when she stepped out of the car and spoke. What did she have to say?
Yeah, Stephanie, she just talked a few minutes ago here, and one thing I want to start right off the top here is that neither she nor her attorney flat out said that she was innocent of the charges against her. She did say, though, she is committed to her role as a state senator, as a leader of the vocational nursing school she started, and to fellow nurses, and she claims she's being attacked because of who she is. She spoke for just a minute. She didn't take any questions, Stephanie. I even tried asking her if she had anything to say to those who are offended by those purchases she's accused of making. We're talking cars, vacations, clothes, even a honeymoon, but she gave me no response. Her attorneys asked for thoughts and prayers as she is a public servant. They did say that she's been cooperative with the investigation that started back in February. Of course, we were there as FBI agents raided her home and her school in Southeast Memphis. They did want to clarify for us tonight that what was released today was a complaint that is different from an indictment. They highlighted that she has so far not gone before a grand jury and has not been indicted. They also talked about Robinson's public service, that she's a traveling nurse. We've talked to her when she was in New York, and she talked about the horrible scenes she was seeing there, helping out there during the COVID-19 crisis. Again, she spoke for just a few minutes here on these courthouse steps, which is pretty unusual in a case like this when facing federal charges. But here's a little bit of what she had to say.
I want to ask that anyone that is listening to this, anyone that is watching this, if you support me, keep supporting me. If you stand with me, keep standing with me. But most of all, for my friends, for my family, especially my children, and those who are depending on me and my capacity to stay in this fight, I ask that you just give me your thoughts and your prayers more so than anything.
Again, that is State Senator Katrina Robinson right there asking for support from the public. Again, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, neither her nor her attorney flat out came out here and said she is innocent of the accusations, but they did say she is eager to tell a story and that she will be vindicated. We're live downtown tonight. Shay Arthur, WREG, News Channel 3.
All right, thank you for that update, Shay. Well, the investigation began in 2016 when Robinson allegedly bought a $500 purse using money from the school. WREG's Peter Fleischer picks up our Team 3 coverage with details in the criminal complaint. And what's inside that document, Peter?
Yeah, Stephanie, we know the details at this point that Katrina Robinson is accused of stealing and embezzling more than $600,000. That's a lot of money, but after almost 5 years of being investigated by law enforcement, including the FBI, these charges are very specific, down to the last dollar about what she spent that money on. The items that she's accused of purchasing, it's a broad list. It ranges from paying for her wedding and then later paying for divorce fees. It covers material items like cars, clothing, and jewelry. Now, Robinson, as Shay just pointed out, did not claim her innocence today, but she did suggest that she's being targeted for very specific and even questionable reasons.
It is believed that if I were not in the position that I'm in, that if I did not champion the voices, the views, and the faces that I represent, that I would not be in this moment right now with you today. And for that reason, I want to reassure all of my constituents, those in the 33rd Senatorial District, those citizens of Shelby County, of Memphis, Tennessee, that I'm committed to continuing to serve with the same integrity, the same passion that I've demonstrated since you've elected me to this office.
Now, as we've told you, Robinson and her legal team did not take any questions today from the collected media, but they did say that they're anxious to get their side of the story out. So, of course, we're going to continue to follow the story. We'll bring you the latest information both on air and online as it becomes available. Reporting live in downtown Memphis, Peter Fleischer, WREG News Channel 3.
And of course, Peter will have more on this story on the news tonight at 10. Thank you, Peter. Happening now, most of the Mid-South is getting a little break from the rain right now. There's plenty more, though, headed this way. Weather expert Jim Jaggers is here with a look at our forecast. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Steph. Yeah, we've still got some strong storms in the viewing area, particularly down here to the south. But the strongest is one here near Tippah County and Alcorn County, moving off to the northeast at about 8 miles per hour. Puts it in Chihuahua at 6:11, in Raymer at about 6:40, and 7:05 to Eastview, Tennessee, as it moves off to the northeast right along the Mississippi and Tennessee state line. Starting at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we can see how this thunderstorm activity has popped up. We can also see this rather intense area that's going down in throughout parts of Coahoma County. Now, as future radar has been showing over the last couple of days how the rainfall just evaporates by around midnight, but this is 12:30. We're still seeing thunderstorms move on in, and that's going to be a key change in our forecast. Right now, 85 degrees at the University of Mississippi in Oxford. Their high temperature 86, 92 at Memphis International Airport. Almost a little over half an inch of rain at St. Agnes St. Dominic today, and Germantown City Hall about 2/10 of an inch of rain, 1600s at Windike Country Club. But the heat index is still pretty high at the University of Memphis. Their current temperature 89, but their heat index 102. We're expecting cloudy skies by 8 o'clock tonight, partly cloudy at 10 o'clock and midnight, with temperatures dropping through the mid-80s into the upper 70s. But we've got plenty more chances of rain, and a lot of it in the forecast coming up. Steph?
All right, thanks, Jim. New at 6. As schools gear up for virtual learning this fall, there is some help available for parents trying to balance work and being at home with their kids. WREG's April Thompson shows who's taking the lead in providing some options for families.
Lindenwood Christian Church will soon become one of several virtual learning centers for parents who can't be at home while their kids are supposed to be learning from home.
We see a big need for providing a service to our community, providing childcare and virtual learning support for the families in our area, for parents that have to return back to school and things like that.
Lindenwood is providing classroom space it was not using, but it's the YMCA that is doing the rest, signing up families and providing adult teachers and tutors to work with students during their classroom time and after school. A list of churches and community centers joining in the partnership and providing learning space is now circulating on social media. But you don't need to call those facilities. We're told they can't sign you up. Everything will be done by the WISE website, and registration won't start until mid-August.
They're coming in and they're running it. We're entering a partnership with them in ministry, so I'm going to spend some time as our family life minister over there with the kids, building relationships, serving our community, praying for parents as needed and things like that. But they are in charge of running all of the services.
We did attempt to reach out to the Y, and we're waiting to hear back on more details about the virtual learning. But there is going to be a lot of need with so many families trying to balance so much. It's why community partners are so crucial. Lindenwood's Educational Center hasn't been in use since the pandemic, and a space that could handle 200 students can now be easily used to socially distance a smaller group of kids.
We're just really excited to serve our Midtown community and hope that this is a blessing to the families around us.
April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
Now, here's a nugget you want to hold on to in this story. Remember, as April said, don't call the churches or community centers to sign up for the virtual learning centers. You have to do that through the YMCA's website when registration opens next month. Whether your child is staying home or going to a virtual learning center, online learning will be an adjustment for everyone. An expert on homeschooling says parent involvement is key when it comes to setting their child up for success utilizing the virtual learning option.
When parents are involved, the students do so much better. So parents need to be checking in with their child, asking questions about their assignments, having their child show them some of their assignments. In some cases, it may make sense if there's a parent working from home, especially if there's an older child who needs to be working on their computer for more hours and who can be more independent, to have that child seated in the same room with the parent.
She went on to say it's a good idea for parents to create a space that mimics a classroom setting versus an office. Still ahead, it's Wednesday night and it is time to pass it on. Coming up after the break, a friend surprises a Mid-South woman after a recent string of devastating events.